How are you tonight? Really excited to be with y'all. And this is Coach AJ Arnold Austin. I'm going to go over a topic I worked on a little bit this morning or a little bit earlier. I'm going to go over a couple things, and basically what I'm going to talk about is, why? Because it's a question that's asked all the time, and the question is, why do I keep meeting the same people? It's an important question because it requires an introspection. It requires us. The answer or the asker of that question to take a deep dive and to look at themselves and to look at their lives and to understand why they are choosing the people that they're choosing. Because it's not an accident. The people that we choose, we don't choose by accident. And for whatever reason, I was in meditation this morning, and the thought came to me, and I started seeing the patterns of my life. And one of the patterns that I saw, and then I'm taping this because this is kind of a test because I don't like the way the audio is on my videos. It sounds like a little cloudy or foggy when I use my microphone. So I'm trying something else until I get another microphone. But and so my thought was, what is the common thread? What is the common denominator? What is the commonality? And when I go back and I look at dating and I look at meeting people, the common thread that wove through the different relationships and people that I met over the years was that I met generally people that came from the type of background where they would say things like this. They say things like this. I don't feel like anybody would choose me. Generally, I'm the type of person that people, use me as a launch pad for the next person. People that get together with me, they don't stay with me. They were the type of people that needed a lot of constant reinforcement, constant, encouragement and telling them the things that they could do and how they could be a better person and encouragement and uplifting them and, trying to convince them that they were, special. And all of it tied back to abandonment, some type of an abandonment issue or some type of an issue where they didn't feel like anybody would ever be there for them in their lives. And so what I found is that generally what would happen is that I would be told a story. They would paint this story. And because I was a sucker for a story back then, they would tell me a story about, their childhood and their background and the different things that happened and the people that they met and, how difficult it was. And because of that, and because of my background, I felt like my background was easy, because, I had two parents that really loved me and, I had certain things that we had to do based upon our religious beliefs, but overall, I mean, I lived in a very kind of a sheltered box. And we just knew certain people. We went certain places. We did certain things. But all we did was work and go to church. That was basically my life from a youngster, a young kid to pretty much a teenager, pretty much, 15, 17, whatever, until I started going to school and, thinking about college and different things like that. But yeah, I was pretty much done my life. But the girls that I would meet when I think back, if I met someone that told me a story about their background and their background was such that it was a hard background or something where, when I look back, basically it was a background where they were a victim or someone did something to them. What that would do is that would activate in me the thing where I wanted to try to find a way of helping them or saving them. And I call it the hero complex. It would activate the hero complex in me where I felt like, how can I be of an assist to this person? And it was based upon, the way I was raised. It was based upon, the people that were around me. It was based upon having a grandfather and a father that were men's. And so what that means is they took care of everybody around them. They took care of the people in their churches. They took care of, their families. They provided, they protected, they did all of those things. So those were the role models. Those were the men that stood before me. They were the examples. And so when you look at this hero complex, that was something that basically, when I think back, it was kind of ingrained within me. But part of being a man and being in tune with your masculinity is part of that is you want to be able to protect the women around you. You want to protect, and I'm not saying protect like you like something's going to happen to them, but you just want to, you want to make sure nothing does happen to them. And some of it was tied into male ego because I was trying to save someone, and it's not my response. It's not really our responsibility to save anyone. And it took me a while to realize that, and it took me an extended period of time that I was in a relationship. And then even after the relationship and after going through a divorce, it took me meeting one person after that showed me the thing that I had been doing, because I was doing a lot of introspection. So I was starting to unravel the revelation of things that I had done unconsciously. I didn't do these things consciously. And see, this is part of the challenge, I think, which many don't realize, is the people that you're going to meet and that you're going to be entwined and wired and entwined with are generally going to be people that there's going to be some type of a connection, spiritual connection between you and that person, based upon something that's lacking in them and something that's lacking in you. It's a mutually lacking thing where, I find that they had abandonment wounds, but I also had non-commitment. I wasn't a non-committed person whenever I was just dating or just seeing someone, and they knew it because I would say it. And so what I noticed, and as I was writing about this earlier, is that what would happen is that they call it the runner and the chaser. What would happen is we would create the dynamic of the runner and the chaser, where they would be running after me based upon me not being available. Because of their lack, because of a lack that was in them, they would run after me because they felt like if they could catch me, then, yeah, and I'm using this as an example, but it's something that psychiatrists and psychologists, they talk about. I don't know the correct terminology of it, but they call it the runner and the chaser, where basically one person in the relationship is always going the opposite direction and the other person is always pursuing them, trying to, trying to negotiate and trying to get them on their side and so on and so forth. And so as I think about this, I think it showed me and this is the benefit of all of this, is that it would show you that there's things within all of us that have to be healed. And so because my heart wasn't open and I wasn't available, that's the part that needed to be healed with me. The people that I met previously, a lot, or a good number of them, the part that needed to be healed with a lot of them was a level of abandonment, or a place where they didn't feel valued, or they didn't feel like anybody would be there for them. And a lot of that stuff, when you go back and look at that, and I have a book here, and I don't have it here now, but it talks about abandonment woundings, and a lot of individuals that are in the place of those woundings, that stuff was received in their households from their parents and from people that they should have loved, or should have been able to love, and should have been able to teach them and share certain things with them. But because they didn't get it, because they were not safe spaces, like I talked about last week, when we're meeting people, we have to find out if they are safe. And it's not based upon their words and how good they smell and where they take us and how smooth they are and how everybody likes them. All that stuff doesn't matter. The way that you know that they're safe is by how they treat you at all times, especially when nobody else is around. The things that they say to you, is their word their bond? Do they keep their word? Is their word good? Is their word good? Do they just throw off things and say things, but then they don't never fulfill it? Even your friends, look at your friends. Are your friends the type that tell you, oh yeah, I'd such and such and such, but then they didn't actually do what they said? That's showing you that person's character, because character, if the character with the people around you is not lining up, they're probably people that shouldn't be in your life. Just like when we talked about last week, and these are a lot of videos that are already up on the channel, because these are lives that I did last week, and this one was about chemistry versus compatibility. And we were looking at the definition of chemistry versus compatibility, and just doing a stripping this whole thing down and kind of looking at this topic and looking at it in detail, and understanding that chemistry, a lot of times, it represents, that physical part, that physical attraction generally that we have with someone, but it also represents a part of us having a good conversation, our conversation flowing with this person when we meet them, and us having maybe some commonality, some simple things that we have in common. But if it's a person that it's compatibility, then what that is, what we found from the studies of last week is it's going to be something that's going to be long term, and you're going to have similar values, like the way that you're going to raise your kids, your how much you're going to have discussions about intimacy, and you're going to have discussions about your spirituality and religion and all these things which represent the things that are values, the things that are important, the things that are going to determine your life, and the things that are part of what helps to make you who you are, your values. That's why you have to be clear on what are your values, what are the things that you really can't compromise on. And I said something last week, and it wasn't really a value. It wasn't a value for me, but it was just something that I wanted. And I got a revelation about that thing that I wanted, when I was taking a shower Saturday morning, and I was in a prayer mode because I was listening to this song, and as I was listening to the song, it kind of took me to a worship. And as I was doing this, just taking a shower, this thought kept coming about this project that I should do, in this place that I want to go to. And I was thinking, wow, that is crazy. That's not a thought that I would have came up with. And so when I think about understanding that the things that happen in our lives, they don't happen by accident. They happen because of, it's part of the process of us learning and growing and gaining more information. And so that's part of the reason why I'm talking about this morning, because like I said, as I was meditating this morning, the thought kept coming to me that of why I kept picking certain style or certain types of women, and why those same types of women I find repulsive now. And when I say repulsive, I'm not talking about their looks, because they're still attractive women. I'm talking about energetically, I don't match with them any longer, because since going through this whole healing process and the divorce and all these things that took place, I changed. And this is why I try to encourage people all the time. You're going to meet, you're going to get into a place where you're going to stop being able to, you're no longer going to be energetically in the vibrational match of the people that you used to be. You're not going to be. If you're serious about your change, if you're serious about the work that needs to take place, if you're willing to invest in yourself and do the work, because it's part of the stuff that I say because this is the stuff I had to do. I had to invest in myself. I got coaching. I went away to conferences. I did whatever I needed to do, because this is not stuff that most people that are going through healing journeys, they don't know what to do. I mean, you can try to wing it, but the problem is, if we try to wing it and we don't do this thing, and we don't go through the actual channels and of this journey, then what happens is we're going to continually stay in that perpetual cycle and just keep repeating the cycle over and over again, and repeating it over and over again, and then we're going to still expect different results, but the same thing is going to be taking place, because nothing has changed, because the change has to take place internally. It starts with our mindset and our energy and our spirit and our frequency and our vibration and our aura. It's all part of the makeup of who you are as a person. This is why part of it is you have to start changing yourself. And that's why I was glad I was willing to invest in myself, because I learned certain actual techniques where I could change my mind. I could change my DNA. I could change the way that I used to think. And because I coming from religion, one of the biggest stumbling blocks, besides the thing that I just mentioned earlier, was money and poverty. I mean, the people the religion that I was in, they didn't really believe that you should be rich. They believe the more that you suffered and the more less that you had, and the more that you struggled, the greater your testimony. And you could come in church and you could say this testimony about how sick you were and how much you didn't have and how you were struggling to pay this and do that. And in the process of doing all that, you weren't really, when you think about it, you weren't really giving God no glory, because you were glorifying the problem. And then second, on top of that, there was never any process of understanding that or putting, and then this is where I am now. And I'm not judging anybody, because anybody that's on here, I don't know what you stand for, what you believe. But my point is, you can change your situation. You can change your situation. I used to be the guy that, for whatever reason, I connected with people that needed something. And because I felt like I came from a pretty solid background, and I felt like I wanted to come in, and I put my cape on, and here I come to save the day, right? I wanted to save the day. I had that hero complex where I felt like I needed to save this chick from something. And the problem is, I didn't understand that the gifting of healing would draw certain women to me automatically. And a lot of them that would be drawn would be women that were very, very sick. Think about that. If you're a healer, what do you think you're going to draw? You're not going to draw healthy people. You're going to draw probably sick people that are sick, people that need that help. But back then, this is part of what I'm trying to say. Why introspection? Why looking at yourself? Why learning certain techniques and things is so important, because you will no longer keep doing the same thing over and over again, because you learn the lesson. This is why I say I'm no longer where I used to be. And it's one thing when you say it, but it's another thing when other people around you notice it. I had a person say that to me. A person around my family said that to me. They said, I noticed such and such and such. I was like, okay. I didn't say anything, but yeah, they were right on time. Because part of this whole thing was, trying to save people, trying to help people. Because part of it back then, I did not know that the fullness of I was supposed to be a healer. And so sometimes when you're a healer, just because you're a healer, one of the worst things that you can do is have a person in your life that is your partner. You're in love with them, you're intimate, and they're a sick person, because you will be spending all your time working on this person instead of enjoying your life with a person that's in a better state. That's all I'll say. And there's nothing wrong with anybody, because all of us are in different places. But I'm saying that's a lesson that healers have to learn. And people that are in these other gifts, there's certain lessons that you're going to have to learn. So the first thing is the key to stop from continually meeting the same people over and over in different phases. And like I said, the first thing would be get clear on what you are choosing. I'm clear on what I was in the past choosing. I was choosing people that I know that I could help or that needed help. But the problem with that, I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. And I posted this video earlier, which I didn't mean to. I did that to try to work through some things and figure out some things. So I'm trying to work on this page, and I recorded the video, and I thought I hit it delete, but I think it's up there, but I got to check. So the first thing is you got to get clear on what it is that you want, or not it is what you want, but you got to get clear on what it is that you are connecting to. What are you drawing to yourself energetically? What are the type of people that are connected to you? If you are a healer, sick people will be connected to you. People that might be that might do spells and just any number of things will going to be connected to you, and then part of it also is because there's going to be people that do not want you to fulfill your destiny. So they're going to try to do anything they can to hinder you from getting down the road to where you need to go. This is why who you hook up with and who you meet is important. It's beyond how they look. I'm saying that to you, but I'm saying it to me too. But I'm saying it to me first, because I know me. If she looked a certain way, if she was part of that thing that I like, and so on and so forth, and then she had problems on top of that, oh my God. Are you serious? But you got to get clear on why it is that you are connecting and drawing these things into your life. Because at some point, every single person that's going to watch this, that's going to see this, that's going to think about this, that's going to share this, that's going to whatever it is, we are responsible for our lives. We've been given dominion, power, and authority over our lives. It's nobody else's decision of how our lives are going to turn out. Our lives are going to turn out based upon what we really believe in our thoughts, what we really feel in our hearts, and what we say out of our minds, out of our mouths. It's going to be based upon what we are creating in the environment around us. This is why part of this is knowing what you believe. This notebook right here, this is what I use. This is part of how I learned how to know what I believed or where my thoughts were. This right here. Every day. And then what it does, it gives you a record of things to be grateful for. recognizing the things that you're asking questions about, because you're writing them out. And not only you're writing them out, you're writing out things that you're grateful for, because your mind is in a state that you're aware of the good that is going on around you. You're grateful, you're thankful, you're aware of all the goodness that's going on around you, because you know that you can create an environment where you can bring in the things and get the harvest and the abundance that you need or desire in your life, based upon being in the right place, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And then by being in the right place mentally, physically, and spiritually, you'll have synchronicities that'll take place, and you'll be in the right place as far as physically, the right building. You'll be walking in the right store, walking in the right office. You'll meet the right person when you go to your life will be synchronized. It'll be like a perfectly synchronized swimming ordeal, where things just match up and things are just magical and awesome. So you got to get clear on where you are energetically, and where are you why are you getting the things that you're getting? Why are you drawing the people that you're drawing? I know I was drawing the people that I was drawing. Part of it was my background. Part of it was my grandfather, my father. And then part of it was healing. And then another part was I need a hero. Needed to be a hero. Part of that male ego. Damsel in distress. So these are things that I'm just sharing. I'm sharing with you about myself, but what I'm sharing about myself applies to you also. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, Latoya. Doom loop. That doom loop. Yeah, that's true. So when you look at this, one of the things that caused a lot of this too, this whole loop and this whole process, was I was non-committal. When I was a teenager, I didn't commit to nobody. I was non-committal. So that's part of what drew these type of girls to me, because I was non-committal. They were in abandonment, where no one committed to them. No one was there for them. Everybody basically used them as a springboard to get to the next person. This is stuff that they say. I wrote this stuff down this morning because this is the stuff that a lot of those women say. They say stuff like, I feel like nobody will ever choose me. This is something that a lot of times they say. The second thing, I feel like they're only here temporarily. I feel like I'm only used as a springboard for them to leave me and then meet somebody else that they'll end up marrying and being committed to. They needed a lot of positive reinforcement. That's another reason why we end up connecting, because I'm a positive person. Anybody around me, that's part of my gifting. I encourage people and build people up naturally. It's just part of naturally who I am as a person. Yes, and that's another part of Latoya. Committed to people's potential, which that's a positive thing. That's a good thing. But but there's sometimes it could be it's good, but then there's sometimes it could be something that's negative for us, where we're trying to help a person that isn't really ready, or that isn't going to do the right thing, or that's just playing games. They needed a lot of constant reassurance. They pretended or acted like I can understand that, Latoya. Yeah, and they need a constant reassurance. Someone constantly telling them, how much they love them and how great they are and how they respect them and how this, that, and the other, and you're my boo and this, that, and the other. And so over a process of time, these are the same individuals that will get tired of you telling them, and they're going to look for somebody else, or they're going to be open to somebody else telling them the same thing. And so the problem is, if you run into those type of people that I'm describing here, they're going to be unfaithful. And they're going to be unfaithful because they need the outside validation. They need new people telling them how pretty they are, how sexy they are, how nice they are, how this they are, how that they are, because they don't have that person. And internally, they don't feel good about themselves. And so there's nothing that you'll be able to tell them or say to them to build them up, because they don't really believe in themselves, because the belief in self was never established as a young person. The belief in self was never established. The people that should have gave it to them never gave it to them. So they don't have it. So they have a false sense of confidence and bravado. This is why they're always, vocal, and they got to be big shots in the room, and everybody's got to see them, and everybody's got to know who they are, and everything's about them, and rah rah rah, and so on and so forth. This is all part of it. And one of the things that tied all of it in together is that they always had a victim story. And part of this was stimulated by a friend of mine that I've known for a number of years. And this person, I had a conversation with her years back. And I told her, I said, I think it's unfair what you do. Because if you're a friend of mine, I'm gonna be straight with you. I'm gonna tell you in love, but I'm gonna tell you straight. Because I told her, I said, I think you're an unfair person. I said, because so you're a light-skinned girl. I said, you're small. I mean, you got yourself, your body and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. I said, yeah, you're in your 50s. I said, but back when you were in your 20s, you were 18, 20, 22, 25, 30, whatever, you had your pick of whoever you wanted. Because you were the hot thing. If you were some little light-skinned girl, you back where I lived, and especially where I know where she lived, you were just like the hottest little thing. And you got your little cute shape, and you got this going on, that going on. I said, so you got a lot of attention. And I said, and I said, and then on top of it, you got 3 kids that are freaking gorgeous. So that shows the level of people that you were dating. Between you two, you combined together, your kids are just beautiful. I said, and now I see you online. I said, I think it's unfair what you're doing. You're online. You have certain men that are in your chat every single day. They're in your chat. They're in your the videos that she be posting, and they're talking to her and saying stuff to her. And the whole time she's in the videos whining and moaning and mourning about, oh, I really, I wish I could find somebody, and there's nobody out here, and everybody's know this, and everybody's know that. I said, I don't want to hear that stuff. I said, I can't follow you. I said, if we're going to be associates, I can't follow you. I said, because every time I see that just aggravates me, because I think it's just a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of nonsense. So you spent all your 20s doing whatever you wanted, dating pretty much whoever you wanted. Because a lot of people were coming after you. Now you're 55 or 53, no, 54, 53 or 54. Still attractive. And because you're not getting the amount of attention that you did when you were 20, you're whining. There's some women, I go to their pages, they ain't getting no attention. None. Everybody's thing is different. And they're not showing their bodies, but I'm saying everybody's thing is different based upon who they are as a person in their life and what other people find attractive. And you're sitting online whining about, oh, it's my next birthday. I'm so tired of going out alone and this, that, and the other. And then you had a guy not even a month ago or 2 months ago that was trying to talk to you, and you refused to give him the time of day, just like a lot of them guys that's in your chat. You refuse to give them a time of day, which they're showing you that they're interested in. But they're not good enough. You want something else. It's not fair. You're an unfair person. Because you're not seeing. Yeah, but that's it's part of it, and that's kind of what I was trying to share with her. I was like, you're looking at things from a place of not being able to get what you want, but you were married a couple times, you got 3 kids, you got a couple kids, you got grandkids. You already lived a fuller life than a lot of other people. There's some women out here that have never been married, period. Never been married. You've been married twice. You've been married twice. So she still calls me periodically, but I tell people around me, I said, no, come on, man. That's just a bunch of, you're a victim. Every time I see that, I just feel like you're just such the victim. You're just, oh, poor, pitiful you. I guess everybody should just feel sorry for you, that everybody isn't fondling over you and falling down over top of you. But the problem with that is that most men our age, my age, I can date women from probably 28 or 30 to. I've had women. Well, I don't get into that, but I'll say the man gets older, I can date younger. I don't have to date a woman 50. I'm not saying that I would, but I'm saying that that's part of the problem that you don't understand. As a man, especially if you're a man that's fit, you got some money, you're a little bit older, it doesn't matter. Women 30 are going to be interested to 50. And when you get older as a woman, sometimes you had your hot spot when you were hot time when you were a teenager, 20, 25, 30, whatever. And I don't write the rules. I'm just saying this is the way this seems like this thing is happening. And so she's all every time I turn out, when I would go to her page or if something would pop up, it's her on a video whining about not meeting somebody. And she just rejected a person. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This guy was trying to pursue her and send her gifts, and because she called me for free advice, which I'm gonna stop giving free advice. I'm done giving free advice to people that ain't going to act on it. I'm done. Because I'm just wasting my time. My time is too valuable. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's not fair to me. Give the advice. Nothing changed. So then what? What? That means that the advice was no good, or the advice didn't make any sense to her. Because she still hasn't done anything about it. And I've told her. So I won't be giving her no more advice. I just made that decision just now on this live. That 31.17 seconds. That surface beautiful on the outside and can be rotten. Yeah, that's true. She's not rotten, but she's just a person that she don't see. She's not a rotten person. If she was, I wouldn't be around her. But she just can't see. She can't see because she's trying to stay within the days when she was, she was the queen of the ball, so to speak. And so the problem that happens with all of this, and I'm gonna wind this up with this, is that when you are meeting someone that is in this spiral, and they're the type of person that's in these abandonment woundings, and they're going through all this rhetoric that I just went through, and they're telling you all of the sob stories, and they're the constant victim, and it's everybody else's fault. And yes, with all of us, there is a part where we have a story about something that happened to us, and we are a victim, of course. But at some point, there's got to be a line drawn in the sand, and we got to pick up our staffs, pick up our road, pick up our stuff, and follow the Creator. We got to pick up things, pick up what we need to, and get moving. Because at some point, we can't say that we're going to believe and we got this and we're going to do this, and we're not moving. Because that's stubbornness. That's rebellion. That's why when it says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, we're rebelling against some type of an instruction that we're being given. Because there's something that we're hearing or something that we're being given that if I'm not doing it, then I'm going to rebel against it. If I'm rebelling against it, then I'm not walking by faith. I'm walking by fear. Because you're going to walk by either faith or you're going to walk by fear. Something you're going to be walking one way or another. One's going to get you stuck and stay in the same place, and one, healing is our responsibility. And so one's going to get you stuck and stay in the same place, but faith is going to get you. It's going to allow you to continue to grow and to flourish. So as you meet this person that's in this condition and you're constantly in a place of growing, you'll see this stuff because you won't be in the same place, because you would have paid the price, done the work, learn what you needed to learn to no longer keep repeating the same cycle. Jonathan Reynolds, or whatever his name is, has a song called Cycles. And the song is true. And it just talks about us repeating cycles over and over again. And he asks, why do I keep repeating these cycles over? Why do I keep repeating these cycles? The cycles are as a result of what we believe, what we feel, what we speak, and how we act. It's nobody else's fault. If we believe that there is a creator or a source that's greater than us, which has looked down upon us and given us power over every single dominion and power over everything in the water, in the seas, in the firmaments, and everything that we can see, There is nothing that has power over us. We have power to achieve anything we desire if we would believe, if we believe. It's not if we could, if we should, if we would, if we will believe. There's nothing that can hinder us. There's nothing that can stop us. And so with this cycle, and I'm done, is that what happens is by the time you get to the point, and this is a personal, this is based upon my own personal story. By the time I got to the point where I was no longer in the place of non-committal, my energy shifted, and I said, "Okay, I want to take you off the market. I want to marry you. I want to be honest. I want to be faithful. I want to love you. I want to cherish you." When you do that to a person that has abandonment woundings, what's going to happen is you're going to take that person into a tailspin. Because first of all, what's going to happen is when you make the commitment, the dynamic's going to change. No longer they're going to be chasing. It's going to be runner and chaser. You're running and they're chasing. Now they're running and you're chasing. The dynamic just changed. And part of that, what happens is because they're going to run away from their relationship because they have a firm belief based upon the recording that's playing in the background in their mind. You know what? My mother, I could never count on her. My father was never there. He made promises and he never kept them. And so they got a recorder that's going on in their minds. And so when you come to them and you promise them that you're going to do certain things, the recorder button gets hit and it just starts playing in their mind. And so the whole time that you're saying something, they're hearing something else. They're not hearing what you're saying. It doesn't matter how sincere you are, how loving you are, how kind you are, how soft you say it. They're not hearing what you're saying because in their mind, they do not believe it. Because the recording that they're hearing is a recording that was recorded probably 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You're a brand new voice. So this is why those type of people, genuinely, they will cheat because they're going to do anything they can as a form of protection. Because if they cheat, then no longer their energy is divided because they're sleeping with you and they're sleeping with you. So they don't. If you're sleeping with more than one person, then you're not emotionally connected to either one. Probably, many times. This is part of the reason why also these people that have these woundings, they will steal from you. Because they're always preparing. Yeah, they were always preparing to leave because their mindset was you were never going to stay anyway. So because they believed that you were never going to stay, they always had to be preparing to leave. This is why they steal. Y'all can have a joint checking account. They're filtering money off the top, sending it off to somewhere else, filtering money off the top, sending it to ask me how I know. I know now, but ask me how I know. And these are people that you love and you trust and that you think would never do anything like that. Because part of their goal is to ruin you, to destroy you. But the thing that's powerful about that, is that, even though you're knocked down, you can rise like that phoenix out of the dust and out of the ash. Because just because you got knocked down and things are tough and things are a little unsure for you right now, that doesn't matter. That's just temporary. That's just temporary because in some time and in some space, you're going to start rebuilding because it's a process of rebuilding. Because, just because, Most High promised to turn that thing that goes from ash to dust, but also he promised to rebuild us, to give us a new beginning. We're new. And so we're going to come up out of this thing, as a newly created individual. This is why I'm saying you got to invest in knowing what you need to do. You got to figure it out. You got to learn it so that you don't keep repeating these cycles. All of us only have a certain amount of time. And the longer it takes for us to learn certain lessons like this, the less time we'll spend completely keep going over and over in these same cycles over and over again. When as that being comes up out of the dust, that's you. You came up out of that dark place, and you're still here. You're still standing, regardless of what anybody else said. Because there's a lot of people that had opinions and were saying a lot of different things, but it doesn't even matter what they were saying. If your mindset is anything like mine, it don't even matter what these people are saying, because most of them are the same ones that are gonna that hopefully that you can be used as a beacon or as a lamp to show them the way to go. That's part of my prayer. My prayer is that, yes, they're looking and they're pointing the finger and they're talking, but also that there's a portion of them that as they're looking and they're pointing and they're talking, that they're going to see an example of someone that stood in spite of, that fought the good fight of faith, that held on, that didn't, wavered when the wavering that took place, they didn't know anything about it. Because all of us will have little plots where we're not going to feel as strong as other days. This is why you have to build up yourself on your most holy faith. You got to put certain information in your mind. You got to keep conditioning your mind to be ready for any battle that may come. My belief is that there will be a portion of them that's going to see how the Creator has taken you from that pit and placed you in the palace. How He's taken you from that dark place and brought you to the light. How He's taken you from obscurity and put you in front of many. That's what I believe. Not everybody qualifies to go through that journey, through that process. Joseph had a lot of other brothers, but he was the only one that was qualified. And yeah, he was the smallest one. He was the one that no one even thought about. They didn't consider him. He maybe in today's example, he'd be a person that maybe didn't have a college degree, or he was a person that was just a regular person, like a trash man, or whatever. Something that people overlook and look over. But it's not what everybody else is looking over. It's because when the Most High looks at you, He's looking at your heart. This is what people don't understand. He's looking at your heart. That's why people were chosen, because their hearts, the purity of their hearts. They weren't these brute beasts out here just trying to destroy and hurt and harm other people, but they had a heart where they were trying to help and be a blessing. And they were just doing the things that they were told to do. He was told to go tend the sheep. Now, so he's out in the field tending the sheep with his heart, with his slings, with his weapons, right? Just out there doing what he was supposed to be doing, protecting the Father's sheep, right? Come on, y'all. So I went off into a whole nother tangent, which I don't even know how I got there, but it is what it is. I believe that the right people are going to see this, and it's spreading to the right people, and I know that whatever's mine is mine, and whatever's not is not. But I appreciate every single one of y'all that's tuned in. Thank each and every one of y'all. Have a great night. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you for the comments in the chat. Thank you, Lataya. I guess you're the only one in here. I don't know if anybody else is in here, but it doesn't matter who's in here, because this is just me getting my reps. This is me. I'm getting my reps, like David got his reps. So he was ready for the lion, the tigers, and the bears. Oh my! This is my reps. This is my reps in the wilderness. This is no different than Steph Curry shooting in the gym when nobody's watching. Everybody's gonna be watching Game 3 tonight. Or many people, Game 3 tonight of the NBA Finals. A lot of those young men, they spent a lot of hours in the gym when nobody was in there. And now the president's going to be there, and all these people are going to be there watching it. Why? Because they were working when nobody else was watching. They were putting their time in when nobody else was watching. They were putting themselves in a place where they knew that they qualified to take the last shot of the game, because they took 1,000 of them shots already. And so they knew that when that ball released their hand, oh, there it is. Let's go. It's done. It's a done deal. But that's all I have for y'all. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for being here. I don't know. I might try to get on here twice a day. I know I can't do it Wednesday because I got a small project I'm gonna do for a buddy of mine. And but yeah, I appreciate y'all being in here. Thank y'all, each and every one of y'all. Whoever's in here, I don't know who the other people are, but let me know what state you're tuning in from. And thank y'all for being here. Like I always say, I believe in you, but you gotta believe in yourself. Thanks. Talk to you soon.